Welcome to Pinball Mayhem. I am not Jeremy or Ed. I'm Russ. We're going to do something a little different tonight. So we got two Grand Lizards. We've got the production model and we have a pre-production or prototype model. We'll look at the differences and compare the two games and just kind of document what we have here because it's kind of cool. This is one you won't see often. First thing you'll notice with the games is the cabinet art. Prototype model had completely different cabinet art. There's only two of these that I have ever seen anything about. The other one was a collector had one about 12 years ago. Read about it on Rec Games Pinball. I believe he has since passed and I don't know where his game went. I've seen two or three for sale of a model that's halfway in between these two, but it had the artwork of the production model. The main thing you'll notice that's different between the two games is the back glass. The production model was redone by Python Angelo, and he also redid the plastics for the game. The original artwork was done by Paul Ferris. His Playfield art stayed. All the other art that you'll see on the prototype game was taken off. The differences between the two Playfields. The most noticeable is the prototype has purple, kind of a plum color in the background, where the production model is black. And even the color of the lizard head changed. If you look at the lizard on the prototype model, he's a little lighter green and the tongue is darker. Looks almost black when the game's turned off, but it is just a really dark red. On the standard model, you can definitely see that his tongue is red, but the lizard head is a little bit darker green. One of the cool things that I saw when I picked up the prototype model is it had an extra lizard head with it, which was black. Never saw one of these before anywhere, and it was not mounted on the game, but it came with it. So here's what the black one looks like. Darker yellow and yellow in the horns instead of the off-white. So that's in pretty nice shape. Got one broken tab, but nothing I've ever seen in that color before. And that's not something that just somebody painted up. I mean, it's actual. It was made that way back in the day. There was a model halfway in between these two. I don't know if I'd call it a sample game or what, that had the production cabinet art and the black Playfield, but it had the prototype plastics, which were the blue and green plastics instead of the cartoon characters on them. And it had this back glass, which if you'll notice, the score windows are in a completely different position than both of the other games. There's two different stories with the back glasses. One, because it was a transition designed as a System 7 game and transitioned into a System 11 game by the time it was released, had to have new artwork because score windows were in the wrong place. The other story is that the German distributors did not like the artwork that was originally done. They thought it was maybe okay for bars and stuff, but they wanted something a little lighter, you might say, or a little more animated for arcades or places where younger people might be. Nobody seems to really know the exact reason why the artwork was changed. Definitely the back glass on the prototype matches the style that was done on the Playfield. One of the things that I mentioned was designed as a System 7 game. There's some question out there as to whether this was originally designed at the time System 7 or System 9, because they both had the back glass with the four windows, like what you'd see on your typical Black Knight or System 7 game. The model number is 523 on Grand Lizard, which if you look up all the model numbers of the different games, this is real close to Firepower 2. I think Firepower 2 might have been like 521. There were some System 7 games after 523. So it makes me believe that it was probably designed as a System 7 game. Solar Fire was System 7, and this has very similar Playfield layout to Solar Fire. Upper drop target bank. Solar Fire was one of the multi-level MagnaSave games. This is kind of multi-level, but it's all on one plank. The upper Playfield is not raised up like it was on Solar Fire, but very similar layout. If you look at the two, you'll notice how close they are. I believe the cabinet for this prototype game is System 7. If you look at the back side of the cabinet, they cut out a big hole for the plug to go through and put like a wood block in there instead of a plastic cup like you'd find on a System 11 game. But it's still got the notch up in the neck where you would run the cord through it. The prototype game does not have a hinged playfield. The playfield lifts completely out of the game and you have to stand it up by lifting it up like you would on an older game, where the production model has hinges where it just pivots upward and stays fixed to the game. If you look right down here in the playfield, where it says Grand Lizard Williams Electronics, it says 1986. On the pre-production or prototype game, it says 1985. I don't know if that's finally when they got around to printing them beyond the whitewood stage or what happened there, but there's just 1 year difference. Well, one would think that the game was designed maybe around 1982, looking at the score windows in the cabinet. So another difference in the prototype game is the sounds. The prototype came with different sound ROMs. We'll do a little demonstration of the different noises that some of the switches make, and then we'll just do a short little bit of gameplay on each one, probably one ball on each game, just to show how they sound while in play. And to prove that the prototype actually works, because that took a while. So we'll do the sounds on the production game first. So one thing you'll notice is the trough switch here has an associated sound. I'm sorry, the shooter lane switch. MagnaSave. Sling. Stand-up targets. Spinner. That's a spinner when it's lit. When the spinner's not lit, it'll make the mandrel noise. We'll have to get that unlit. That's it. One adjust switch 42. No sound in the shooter lane. I have to double check that switch to make sure that it's working.
switches.
Might be different ROMs, might be different settings, but should all be factory settings. Could just be the noise makes it seem faster. That's some sad playing. Gives the idea what the noises are like though.